Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our info session, where we will be giving you more information about the UCLA School of Law Master of Legal Studies program. My name is Jamie Bofshow, and I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Studies for the M.L.S program. I also graduated from the program myself in 2022. With me today is Assistant Dean of Graduate Studies, Jason Fisk, who, among many things, sits on the admissions committee and is here to share more information about the program structure, and relevant application tips. And we also have our program manager, Sarah Landau, joining us, who will be sharing relevant links throughout the session. So during the info session, we welcome you to drop any questions you have in the Q&A box, which we will answer at the very end of the presentation. Okay, great. You'll see here we have a handy QR code throughout the presentation that you can use to request your application if you haven't done so already. And Sarah will also be sharing the link in the chat now. Thank you. Our first application deadline is our priority deadline on November 3rd. So that is exactly a week from today. We have a rolling admission process, which means you can apply early and hear back on whether you've been admitted about 3 to 4 weeks later. If you apply by the November 3rd deadline next week, you will receive a bonus $5,000 scholarship. So it's great that you're here early and can take advantage of this bonus scholarship, which we'll get into more later in the presentation. Dean Fisk, what are some other advantages for applying early?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jamie. And it's so good to be with you all here today. Certainly that $5,000 scholarship is if you need other reasons, then great, but that's a big one. But besides that, we spend a lot of time in this program with connections, really connecting you with each other, but also with the academic material. And so as such, we have from February to June, we have all sorts of admitted student events and things to get you really connected. If you apply early and apply now, that will ensure that you kind of get through the interview process and to be accepted well before those events start, so you can be completely ready to be engaged fully with all those things coming up. So those are some definitely a couple good reasons for you to apply now rather than waiting until later.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so what is the Master of Legal Studies program? The Master of Legal Studies degree was designed specifically for working professionals or soon to be working professionals who want a more sophisticated understanding of the law as it pertains to their industry or desired industry without becoming a lawyer. So historically in America, if you wanted to learn about the law, the only way to do that was to spend lots of time, energy, and money on pursuing a full-time JD degree, which doesn't make sense for people like us who don't want to sit the bar and become actual lawyers. So this UCLA Master of Legal Studies degree was designed for someone who wants to elevate themselves both professionally and personally by bridging that gap between their career field and the legal field and learn how to speak like a lawyer. So this degree was designed with flexibility in mind. We understand that many people are working professionals, working full-time jobs with busy personal lives. And so we've really curated this program to make it work for you, including both online and hybrid options. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through our flexible program options and why the program was designed this way?
Absolutely. So from the very beginning, the faculty, when they created this program and got approvals for it, knew that this program would be special because it's designed for those who, don't want to become lawyers, but do want to learn about the law. And so they knew that if we can create this curriculum that people can come in and take just the classes that they want and that they need without having to take all these extra classes to pass the bar exam, that it could be very valuable for people. And then they also knew that there would be people who are who are working full time to be able to complete the degree. And so from the very beginning, we always made sure that the classes were lined up in the evenings so that people could go to work and then come to classes. But then as time evolved, we just listened to more and more student feedback over the time, and people wanted flexibility. They wanted choices. And there were also many people from outside the LA area who also wanted to benefit from this education at this school. And so thus, we transformed this program a year ago to include both an online option for students to be able to complete if you're not located in the LA area, or if you are in the LA area and just don't want to deal with traffic, and that's fine too, or travel a lot for work or whatnot. But then also for people who are local and want to be able to come to campus, to be able to give them that option too. And so thus the program is transformed to be like this, and then you all would be basically in the third entering class of this new format. So the program was launched in 2020 initially, and then in the fall of 2024 was moved to this existing format, which we'll talk about more soon.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. The UCLA Master of Legal Studies degree is one program with two options you can pursue, the full-time track and the part-time track. For both tracks, you need the same 26 units to graduate. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through the various options available, please?
Absolutely. So part of the flexibility of the program is flexibility as choices to the speed of which you do complete the program. So for some people, you want to be able to come in and just knock it out as quickly as possible, and get in and get out. And so we've made the full-time option for people who have the ability to do that. And then we also have the part-time option, excuse me, for those who we're going to be working full-time, but taking classes in the evenings. So for the full-time option, this program would start in August. You graduate in May. It's for those who are recent graduates of your undergraduates, for students who are coming in on F1 visas, and for those with some flexibility to take sabbatical off of work. So if you are thinking, okay, I'm working full time, maybe in college I did this full time studies too, that's not an option for this program. You're in law school. These classes are intense, very rigorous. Law study, you will not have time to do that, and you're not allowed to do that. So if you're working, we suggest either, if you can't take enough time off to be able to do full-time studies, then just do the part-time option. But for those who can do a full-time commitment and full-time studies, it's a great option. Working maybe 10 hours a week or less a week on average at the most. For the part-time student, those who are working full-time, which is the majority of our students, it would take you anywhere between 2 to 4 years. So exactly what pace is just based on how many classes you want to take. It's designed so you can take 2 classes a semester, and if you do that, that would get you to just about 2 years to graduate. If instead you just want to do one class a semester, then it would be more like 4 years. If you mix and match the two, then it could be somewhere in between. You're just getting to 26 units at whatever speed you go at. So if you do the typical schedule, which would be 2 classes at a time, you can expect about 20 hours of work week on average or so. So that would be that counts your in-class time and also the out-of-class time for preparing for that. So again, that's the average. So at sometimes it might be a little bit more, at sometimes it'll be a little bit less. And then as the program progresses, it'll probably become less and less because you'll be more used to reading and used to doing the process.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. Whether you're online or hybrid or full-time or part-time, the UCLA Law Master of Legal Studies program has three phases of the curriculum. Phase one is the core curriculum. Phase two is your specialization elective classes. And phase three is the capstone. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through the structure of the program a little bit more?
Absolutely. So for the core curriculum, which is the first part of the program that you'll do, these classes are designed for our Master Legal Studies students specifically, and taught by our full-time faculty at the law school. And it's designed to give you a core understanding of what we consider the most important areas of the law for you to know about, which then builds the foundation so you can really get the most out of your specialization classes in the second phase. So in that core curriculum, the first phase of the program, you have a choice of two sections. So you can either choose the hybrid section or the online section. Either way, they are Tuesday and Thursday nights. They go from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you choose the hybrid section, that Tuesday night will be on campus and the Thursday night will be online. If instead you choose the online section, same days, same times, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 6:30, 9:30, but both nights would be online. So that's what you'd be looking like. That's what you'd be looking at, depending on which section you want to do. So any student in any specialization can choose either one of these two. So regardless of your specialization, you could choose to do the core curriculum completely online if you'd like. When you hit the specialization classes, which for a part-time student would be in your second year, now you have the choice. So you could choose to do one of 5 specializations, which offer the electives online in the evenings. And so that would be 6 to 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday nights. Or you can choose in any of the specializations, there's 9 of them overall, to come to campus and do select classes that would be that the on-campus classes usually range in the morning to the very early evening, just depending on that schedule at the time. So you can choose to do at the special, you can choose just to do on-campus classes, you can choose just to do online, or you can do a mix of both. That's up to you when you hit the elective phase. If you elect to do the program full-time, it's that same schedule that's outlined, except just overlap the two so that the core curriculum would happen in the fall and the spring, and your elective classes would also be in the fall and the spring, overlapping that. So that's how it would work as a full-time student. Then in your last semester with us, whenever you're going to be graduating, you take the capstone class, which is an online class to conclude the program, where you'd write a paper on a topic if you're choosing, about 20 pages or so. And that class, the capstone seminar, would guide you through the process of how to do this and support you along the way to success in that final class in your final semester.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. Now, as Dean Fisk mentioned, we have 9 specializations you can choose from, which are listed here, as well as the opportunity to do general studies or self-design your own specialization. Again, we've really curated this program with flexibility in mind. And as Dean Fisk mentioned, we have those 5 specializations that can be done completely online, which you'll see listed here with the asterisk. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through the various specializations available?
Definitely. So there are 9 specializations to choose from. So the first 5 that are asterisked are ones that there's online elective classes are available. As I mentioned on the previous slide, was that's for the specialization phase that we're talking about here. So again, that first phase is the core curriculum. So now we're talking about just the second phase, the elective classes. So you can select a specialization. So the 5 asterisked first ones are the ones that you could do the online electives Monday, Wednesday nights. You could also choose to do on-campus classes if you prefer, or mix and match the both. So that's the business law specialization, employment and human resources, entertainment and media law, health law and policy, as well as law and technology. The next 4 specializations do not have online elective classes. Instead, you need to come to campus for the elective classes. And that's environmental law, government national security, public interest, or criminal law. So those classes only have on-campus classes available for the specialization. Now, some people, every year we get a handful of people who don't live in Los Angeles but want to do one of those specializations. An option is to do the core curriculum online, let's say for the first year, part-time, and then come to campus for 1 semester and do the elective classes on campus for 1 semester. That's an option that people do upon occasion. If that's of interest to you, you can always just chat to us about it to see feasibility and to see what that would look like. But that's an option that some people do. Now, you don't have to have a specialization. So if you're like, well, I like some of this and some of that, which is very common with our students, you can select general studies. If you do general studies, then you can pick and choose any classes that you want for your electives. Indeed, roughly about 20% of our students do the general studies route. So it's very common. And in which case, you can pick whatever elective you want online or on campus at will once you get the elective classes. We also have a self-design specialization where you can curate your own specialization. We get a couple people do this each year. And so maybe you want a combination of this or a combination of that. Maybe you want something that's not listed here, like maybe it's immigration or combining health and technology. There's all sorts of different things people do. If this is what you're interested in, then when you apply, you would select self-design. You just give us a couple sentences as to kind of what you're thinking. And then after you're admitted, you'd be able to craft your specialization with your academic advisor who'd help you with it. And then you'd be able to submit it for approval with the committee. So that's what it would look like. And that's how the specializations work in our program.
Thank you. Now, it goes without saying that UCLA School of Law is one of the top law schools in the country. When you come here, you will be engaging with extraordinary full-time faculty who are titans in their respective fields. Some of those professors are listed here, including Professor Andrea Hartman, who served as EVP and General Counsel for NBC Universal Television for many years and received her JD from Harvard Law School. She teaches the M.L.S. compliance law course and entertainment transaction course. Professor Cheryl Harris is a groundbreaking teacher and leading scholar in critical race theory and is recognized for her foundational contributions to the field, as well as her work crafting major government policy and reform initiatives. She graduated from Northwestern School of Law and teaches many courses at the law school, including constitutional law and civil rights. We have Professor Doug Lichtman. He's a titan in the field of technology law and intellectual property and received his JD from Yale. He also teaches many courses at the law school, including the M.L.S. courses Copyright Law and Intellectual Property Law. And last but certainly not least, Professor Alex Alabin is an expert in technology law and is engaged in both research and policy developments relating to AI, data privacy, IP, and more. He received his JD from Stanford Law School and teaches two very popular M.L.S. courses in privacy data and cybersecurity law, as well as internet law, media, and society. Okay, great. When you come to UCLA School of Law, you're not just coming for the extraordinary faculty, you're also coming for the amazing connection and networking events. And there are so many ways to engage with the larger law school community. We have over 20 centers, programs, and institutes that allow students to engage with faculty and industry titans in various areas of the law. Here's a list of just some of them, but Sarah can share a link to all our CPIs in the chat now. Besides our CPIs, the M.L.S. program has other amazing connection events that take place throughout the year, both online and in person. And we also have an amazing alumni council who puts on different alumni events throughout the year. Dean Fest, can you talk to us about how the program is designed for all these great connection and networking events?
Absolutely. So we very quickly learned in this program that yes, a huge benefit is learning the law from the professors at UCLA in the classroom. That's a huge benefit. But we then also quickly learned that this program is an amazing place to learn from each other, because each of you comes into this program with a unique background and skill set and knowledge base that you can draw from, and that you come at different angles to different topics, whatever it might be. And so, sitting to your left, maybe a doctor. Sitting to your right, maybe an entertainment executive from Disney. Some, in front of you might be a human resources professional leading a company here in Los Angeles. So there's all sorts of different people that you'll meet and connect with, and everyone thinks about things a little bit differently. So this really adds to a very dynamic, interesting classroom to experience. But then we also knew that a huge benefit is each other, and that you could really meet with each other and have those can be some of the most important connections that you make through this program. And so we want to make sure to facilitate that as much as possible. And indeed, right from the admitted student events to the orientation to the launch week and then into the program, we have lots of different things to connect you with one another. So included would be on-campus dinners that we have as students. We have online events as well for our online students, and all sorts of fun things like that. We have a very active alumni association for our program that hosts dinners, panels, happy hours. We have a homecoming weekend that's in August that was very popular this last year, that brought about a third of our graduates, actually, which is quite remarkable, back to campus over a weekend, being together, doing all sorts of lectures and fun things like that. Our centers, programs, and institutes are also, each one of them is a think tank in that area. They do research, they do events, they do connection opportunities, bringing people from industry here to campus. And so each one of those allows our on-campus and online students to connect in all sorts of different ways. So basically, when you come here, the question will not be, is there some way I can connect? It'll be, which ones do I choose from? Because there's too many to choose from. That'll be more of your problem. And it's it really, I think it makes us a huge differentiator from other types of programs.
Absolutely, a great problem to have. Thank you. So we've talked about all these connection events, but who are you connecting to? I love this slide because it shows a profile of all our amazing students we welcome into the program year after year. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through our M.L.S. student profiles, please?
Most definitely. So if I was to sum up our incoming class each year in one word, it would be diverse, because it's diverse in so many ways, as you can kind of see on the screen, ranging from age and experience. So The average age overall has been 36, but the average age for part-time students has been 40 for the program. And as you can see, just the range of diversity through the program as far as positions, industries, how much experience from demographic backgrounds, as well as location. We have quite a few people from Los Angeles, but the majority of students are not from Los Angeles, ranging from other parts of California to other parts of the country and around the world. And so it's quite a great experience. 32% of our students already have graduate degrees coming in of some sort, many of them MBAs, Masters of Human Resources, PhDs, a huge variety. But all this leads to a really interesting dynamic of people who will be next to you online or in the classroom.
Thank you. We've conducted various surveys throughout the years, and the three most common words that students have used to describe the program are challenging, rewarding, and fun. Dean Fisk, can you dig in a little more on what these three words mean for the program?
I've always loved this question on the surveys we do every year for the students, and these are definitely the words that come back with great frequency as one kind of leads to the next, because you are attending one of the top law schools in the country, and where the classes are angled and designed to be taught just like the JD class counterpart classes. And then for the elective classes, you could be in the exact same classes as the JD students. So as such, the professors make it very rigorous. And so thus the classes are very challenging. But with that challenge, as iron sharpens iron, and thus with that challenge makes it rewarding, that from the very first day that you come, students day in, day out, when they're ending even the launch week right at the beginning of the program, say, like, I'm applying this stuff already, like to my workplace, and let alone all the way through the program and to the point of graduation. And so that makes it rewarding, because you see the rewards of the fruits of your labor pretty immediately in these classes that you'll be taking. And with that comes that with the rewards and kind of being in this atmosphere is fun. We have a lot of our students, we'll say some of our students, it's been some time since you've been into classes. And for many of us, including me, like when I went to college back in the day, it was that, well, that's just the thing you do, right? You go to high school, and now I go to college, and that's just what I do. But this one, you're choosing to come. You're here because you have some sort of passion about it, that lifelong learners who are really challenging themselves to get better. And then through that process, we have a lot of kind of, I'll say, like eager students who are like, I want to learn more. I want to do this. I like doing the reading to an extent, and to various things. And so thus we hear people say it's a fun experience, and that many say when they graduate that, oh, it was very challenging, but it was fun, and they're sad that it's gone. And in fact, we offer audit opportunities after you graduate as well in classes you haven't taken yet. So thus those are the three words that describe the program.
Thank you. And as a graduate of the program, I can also personally attest to all of those three words, but it's very fun. Okay, the UCLA Law Master of Legal Studies program has one start date a year in August. This is specifically designed so that you can take advantage of various connection events leading up to the official start of the degree program. So again, it's great to apply early so that you can be admitted and take advantage of all of these great events. Dean Fisk, what are some of the events we offer throughout the year leading up to fall term starting?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, for those of you who were here at the beginning, an advantage of applying early is that you can take advantage of everything on the slide here. You'd be in the system by all of these. So yeah, from February to June are those admitted student events. And so those are designed to have you connect with each other, as well as current students, alumni, and faculty in the program. And through a variety of different things. A couple of them are on campus, most of them are online for our online students. And that's through that time. Then in July starts our online orientation sessions. So those are one a week, and they're a couple hours each, and they're online in the evenings. Those are designed to get you into the system and familiar with all M.L.S policies and procedures that you need to know to be successful. And then the big one is our launch week. So that is here on campus at beautiful UCLA here in Los Angeles from August 1st through the 5th. This is required. And so this is mandatory for everyone. uh, for those 5 days. It's a Saturday through a Wednesday, and so everyone will be here in Los Angeles from all over the world will come in, and over those 5 days, you'll take two classes together, as well as lunches, networking, mixers. It's all designed to really get you uh, excited and ready for the launch of the program and have met everyone. So the idea being for our online students that you can build those relationships in person over those 5 days and then take them with you online for the rest of the program. And so far that's been an extremely successful formula for us for it. So it's very fun. You'll leave having a great time and also very tired. You're going to sleep very well at the end of it, but that's the launch week. And then the regular semester will start a couple weeks after that.
Thank you. Okay, great. Now let's talk about the application process. We have two stages of the application, and in this slide, we'll be talking about the first stage. But first, Dean Fisk, how competitive is the admissions process, and what is the admissions committee looking for in each prospective student?
Yeah, so it is a competitive process to get into this program. So it is the most rigorous as far as admissions is concerned, program in the nation of its kind for Master of Legal Studies programs. And what the admissions committee is looking for is two primary factors for admissions, and we'll kind of talk through the different documents and how that kind of brings it out. But one is the strength of your academic background. So we look to see, okay, where did you go to school? What was your major? How well did you do? Like, do you have graduate degrees? Like that kind of thing is the first factor. The second factor is your work history and accomplishments and professional background. So that's the second thing that's looked at. And the committee will balance each of these things depending on who you are. And so if you're closer to your schooling, then the academic background will weigh more heavily. If you're further away from your schooling, then the work history and accomplishments will weigh more heavily. If you're somewhere in between, then it'll be a little bit of a balance between the two. So that's kind of how the admissions committee would look at admissions for each person.
Now, the first step is to request your application. Again, you can do this via the QR code or the link we put in the chat. Once you request your application, you'll be able to create an account through the UCLA Division of Graduate Education website. You'll choose M.L.S, which is the official name in the graduate division system, and choose the 2026-2027 academic year. Then you'll be ready to start uploading your materials. There is an application fee to submit. It's $135 for domestic students and $155 for international students. Now let's talk about the second and third points on this slide. Dean Fisk, what is the statement of purpose and personal statement, and what is the admissions committee looking for in each submission?
Absolutely. So these two documents are the two written documents that require you to submit a writing. And so for each one has a specific reason that it's asked for the committee. The first I'll talk about is the personal statement. So the personal statement is telling the story of how you became who you are today. So what kind of, was there anything that shaped you and what kind of experiences did you have that brought you to who you are today? So that one's kind of the back for and then facing and coming to the present for you, for your story. If you had to overcome any hardships or whatnot, that's a good place to weave in that into the story. Then the next up is the statement of purpose. So the statement of purpose is the forward-looking document. So what is your purpose for wanting to come to this degree? Paint the picture for us, connect the dots. So tell us specifically how you think this is going to give you, going to be good for you as far as your next steps, whatever that might be. So the admissions committee looks at this pretty carefully. They look at, as I mentioned, the two primary factors for admission, but the purpose it weaves between the two factors and is critical. So the admissions committee want to make sure that this program will be a benefit to you specifically in this program. So the purpose, make sure to make a very clear statement of purpose. If you're not sure exactly how it's going to help you with great specificity, that's okay, but still give us a picture of direction, or maybe like it could be this or that, but just lay it out for us.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. Now, besides these statements, you'll also be submitting the information for two people who will be writing letters of recommendation on your behalf. Please note that you do not need to have the letters actually in your possession at the time you submit your application. What you'll do is you will submit the name, email, and information of these people, and they will be notified via email to fill out the recommendation form and complete the process of directly submitting those letters. Again, it's great you're here early so you can get prepared and start thinking about who you'd like to ask to write letters on your behalf. Dean Fisk, who would you recommend prospective students ask to submit letters of recommendation on their behalf?
Yeah, the admissions committee truly doesn't have a preference here as to who it is, just that it's someone who makes sense for you. And so if you're closer to schooling, then it's likely to be a professor of in some of your classes. If you're further out from the schooling, then it's very likely to be a supervisor or a colleague or a client, or a lawyer you work with, or something like that. And so that's just someone who can attest to something specific, like you're analytical, you have critical reasoning, you have great work ethic, whatever it might be. Those are the best types of recommendation letters that we see come in.
Okay, great. Next, you'll need to submit your resume. Dean Fisk, can you walk us through how you recommend crafting these resumes?
Yeah, so looking at the two factors for admission, the two main factors, strength of academic background, work history, and accomplishments. The resume is the spot you can show those things. You can show okay, for work history, like where have you worked? What kind of experience do you have? Do you really display your leadership in those roles through your resume? What kind of responsibility level do you have? What have you accomplished? Do you have any accolades that you can mention? Those are all great things for you to mention. The resume is a great place to do that. On the academic side, a great place if you won any academic awards or honor rolls, whatever it might be. Like that's a good place to kind of show those types of accomplishments on for that factor.
Thank you. And finally, you will need to submit your transcripts. Now, at this stage, these can either be unofficial transcripts or official transcripts. You can find your unofficial transcripts through your university's registrar and upload them directly. Now, in order for them to count as official, your university needs to send them to the M.L.S office directly. We recommend using your university's e-transcript option, typically via services like Parchment or Clearinghouse, and your university will have more information on how to do this. Please note, if you are accepted into the program, you will eventually need to have official transcripts submitted. So the sooner you can do so, the better. Sarah, can you throw in the chat the correct email for official transcripts to be submitted to? Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. All right. As I mentioned previously, there are two stages of the application process. Once you submit your application, the admissions committee will determine if you've made it to the final round. Dean Fisk, what can students expect in the final round of the application process?
Definitely. So again, all finalists for admission will be invited to the interview process. And so the first part of the interview process is you'll be emailed a couple different legal cases for you to read through. And then you'll go online and do a Kira assessment where we have a series of video questions that you'll respond back in video format to. And it also has a written component where there's a prompt and then you'll reply in writing. So this process is designed to simulate the law school classroom. So in a law school classroom, if you'll be asked to read a case or a few cases for a specific class, then you'll come in and the professor might call on you and ask questions. So this is exactly that format. So if you say like, oh well, I didn't have enough time to answer the question, like, well, in class you're not going to have time to like go and do research and things you need to know then. So it is an open note process. Also, in preparation for that, there's a couple of videos that I've created to help you with this, to describe how to successfully do this, and we'll talk about what types of questions that will be asked and things like that. And so you'll be very well prepared coming in. But take that process seriously, right? So really make sure you come in prepared. Most of the students, when they finish that part, they'll say that was kind of fun, right? Because you're like learning new things, and you're kind of like you get to experience a little bit of what the law school classroom is going to look like for you through the process. After you complete that online portion of it, it will prompt you to schedule your live interviews. The live interview is a 15-minute interview where you'll meet with a couple people, and we'll ask you about questions about your application, but also your background, purpose for doing the degree, and you can also ask us any questions you have at that point. So that's what the interview process would look like.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. So now we are going to give you more information on tuition and scholarships. As mentioned before, you need 26 units to complete the degree, and projected tuition for 2026-2027 is 2704 per unit, and tuition is charged per unit. Sarah will now share a link to our tuition calculator, which is a really handy tool that uses projected tuition for this upcoming cycle to determine what the cost of tuition might look like for you. Please note that the tuition calculator does not include the $5,000 additional bonus scholarship you will receive if you apply by the November 3rd priority deadline. So please keep that in mind when calculating. We also have some great scholarship options that we encourage you to apply to during the application process. As reference, we gave out $2.5 million in scholarship last year alone. Dean Fisk, can you talk a little more on each scholarship option, please?
Absolutely. So the first one is the one that's been mentioned a few times, is the automatic $5,000 bonus priority deadline scholarship. So if you submit by the end of this next Monday, you've got that one. So that's a nice one. Then from there, if the first scholarship we'll talk about is the service scholarship. So if you work full time or intend to work full time after the degree for the government, nonprofit, health sectors, then or for a university or a community college, then you automatically get the service scholarship. And so there's a prompt when you apply for the scholarship that you would say, okay, I work for here and I intend to continue to work, or I don't work, but I'm going to work for it after the program. And if you do that, then you'll be awarded a $30,000 scholarship towards the program. Now, if you get the service scholarship, you are not eligible for the other scholarships. Except for blue and gold scholarship. So if you are not in one of those categories, then you're eligible for the Bruin Scholarship and the Outstanding Achievement Scholarship. So each of these is $5,000 each. The Bruin Scholarship is based on your strength of your academic background. And so if you want to be considered for this, then you would apply to it during the application. And the second is the Outstanding Achievement Scholarship. That's specifically for in your career and work. If you've accomplished something great there, you can apply and talk about that achievement there to be considered for that scholarship. So again, those two are for those who aren't eligible for the service scholarship. And then is the blue and gold scholarship. This is our needs-based scholarship. Everyone is eligible for this. It's for those who are experiencing a financial exigent circumstance that's a rare, a thing that's just put you in a bad spot right now. If that's the case, then you can apply and be specific. Include numbers. Include specific situations. Paint the picture as to why you really have an extraordinary need. Now, certain income levels are excluded from this scholarship, so you have to be below certain income thresholds to be considered. But really give us good details if you are applying for that scholarship. Then finally, the Dean Journalism Scholarship. So if you're in the field of journalism, so that's broadly defined. It could include broadcasting, could include podcasting, things of that nature. You can apply to this. Then each year we give away one $65,000 scholarship towards the program for this audience. If you're in that category, when you apply, you'll be prompted to put in a prompt about that. And if you fit that category, then you'll apply and go through the regular admissions process. And then you would be interviewed if you're a finalist by April 1st is the deadline to apply, and you'd be interviewed at that point for the one scholarship, bring in everyone from the whole cycle at that point to be competing for that one. So those are the scholarships that are available.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. Okay, now let's talk about next steps. There are many things you can do to prepare for the road ahead. First, we encourage you to sign up for an advising session where you can get to know you better and answer more personalized questions you may have about our flexible degree options. Sarah will share a link to sign up for an advising session now. We also encourage you to join our LinkedIn page at UCLA Law M.L.S, which is a great way to not just stay up to date, but also read some great stories and testimonials from our current students and alumni. We have a very active LinkedIn community, and it's a great way to immerse yourself in what life in the UCLA Law M.L.S program can look like for you. And Sarah can share another link to our LinkedIn page now. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, make sure you request an application, which again, you can do so via this QR code or the link we shared. Sarah, can you share one last time for everyone that link? Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy days to be here with us today. And now we will take some time to answer your questions. I see one so far in the chat, so if you have any more, please don't hesitate to type them in the Q&A chat here. We're not able to answer any questions for this webinar, but you can do so by clicking on the below panel. At the bottom, it says Q&A. Our first question, Dean Fisk, why is there not a standardized test requirement for admissions?
Turning on my microphone is a good idea. So yeah, thus standardized tests are optional to apply to the program. So sometimes people do submit a test score, and that's fine. If a test score is submitted, then it would be considered as part of strength of academic background for the individual. So, and we'd have no preference as to which standardized test, whether it be the GRE, the GMAT, the LSAT. If you do end up submitting a score, how we look at it is kind of you can look to see on the law school JD program pages about like what the like kind of the range is for a JD program. So it'd be if you have a good score, if you're asking like what is a good score, then you would be able to look there to see the range for the LSAT. For the GMAT or GRE, you can look to the Anderson's Business School as far as what their range scores is to see what would be a good score for our program coming in. We look at that same thing. So that's what good scores would be. But we don't require, neither do any legal master's programs across the country. We don't require it because we look very heavily at what you've accomplished in your career. So we look at, and so since we have more working professionals in our program, taking a standardized test isn't necessary for us to analyze the process. Additionally, since we do such a thorough job in the interview process, we get something better. We get to simulate the actual law school classroom for you to see how well you perform in an actual classroom setting rather than just some standardized test with random questions that have nothing to do with the law.
Thank you, Dean Fisk. Our next question, if we did not have a good GPA in undergrad, what are our suggestions to be making up for that? So that's a good question. Now I can answer that. We take, as Dean Fisk mentioned, a holistic approach to your application process. We're going to be looking at all of the factors that you submit, your personal statement, your statement of purpose, anything you would like to discuss regarding your academic or professional history or backstory. Now, if you've been in the workforce for many years, then we're going to, as Dean Fisk mentioned, lean more heavily on your professional work history. If you are straight out of undergrad, we will lean a little bit more in that direction, and we will look at GPA and transcripts. But again, this is a holistic approach, and we're going to be looking at the full picture that you will hopefully paint for us during the application process to get a deeper sense of who you are beyond just your GPA and transcript. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat. I can hang out a little bit longer if anything else pops up. Now, again, as mentioned, we encourage you to sign up for an advising session, which Sarah shared already. If you have any specific questions relating to your specific situation, we can curate the conversation more towards you in those smaller, intimate group settings. Otherwise, it sounds like this presentation went swimmingly and we just answered all the questions you might have. That's great. All right. Well, thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy days to be here with us. We really appreciate it. And we're so excited and looking forward to seeing your application come in. Again, you have a week. Get those in while you're here early to hit that November 3rd priority deadline. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Talk soon.